video is a little bit about an introduction into the interface of WeVideo Editor. So once you log back in, if you've already created a project, you're going to find it under recent projects most likely. If you haven't created a project yet, start with projects and then click create project. Once you're in your project, you're going to have your editing screen that looks like this. And I just want to show you a few things. This is kind of a big preview window. You can kind of hover over this line here and pull this up. You can move this side to side. That's going to help you just kind of resize things, and that will make a little sense once you get into editing the video. In your upper left, you have a lot of the controls of like where you're going to go to get stuff for your video. If you want to upload media, you're going to go to uploads. I'll come back to project bin in a moment. From uploads, you can actually record, do a screencast, or record using a microphone, just the audio. Or you can import media. So if you've filmed on a video camera, you can go import that media. So if I click import, I can browse to select. That would mean it's looking at my computer or like a SD card that's plugged in to find the video. But if I already uploaded it to Google Drive, I can click on the Google Drive icon, and then that'll connect me to my Google Drive, in a couple clicks here. And then I'll be staring at my Google Drive, and I can go find a video to import. The next three things here, videos, images, and audio, are all stock images from WeVideo. They literally have millions or close to 1 million pieces of media the last I knew. They're stock images, so they kind of look like they're stock images. If I click on any of them, they'll preview on this right-hand screen. I can use this search bar up here. So if I'm looking for things about space, I can click in space. I can find, just look at this. There's so many different things. And these are all just videos. So again, if I click on any, I can preview it in my screen. If I like it, and I want to move it into my video, I click and I drag it down into what's called your timeline. You can put it in any visual line. So video one or text one. You couldn't put it in audio. It won't let you because it's not just audio. These might have a sound to them. They might not. It depends on the video you're choosing. Once they're in here, they can be trimmed. There's a couple ways to do that. You can, find out where you want to trim. Click split. You can delete the part you don't want. Or you can use the ends of these and just kind of pull them around. So this is the whole video. If I wanted it to end halfway through, I could pull this back to about halfway, using that preview screen to kind of figure out where I want to stop it. This is only, what is this? About a 20-second clip, and it takes up a little bit of my screen. If I wanted to zoom into the timeline, I use this fader over here and just move it slightly. It's very sensitive. So now this video clip here that I'm moving around is still only 20 seconds long, but it takes up a bigger portion of my screen. And the opposite, I can kind of move it back, so it's pretty small. So again, videos, images, right? I can use our still images. If I'm doing a video about space, I can type in space again, click around to preview. If I like one, again, I can bring it down to my timeline. I can put it in here. Audio. I don't know if there's going to be anything about space, but I can type that in again. Nope. I can preview some other things. Relaxing music. If I like it, audio line. And again, you can trim this just like you were trimming the video. You can move, an image too doesn't have a fixed amount of time, but I think the default's like 5 seconds here, and then I can make it, right? I can make it an hour long if I wanted to stare at that image for that long. You have text. So this is all different kinds of text you can find for your video. So if you wanted like a real big title scene to open, the titles here, you click see all, and you're going to see a whole lot more. And some are really discreet, like this one, in with a whisper, and it disappears. Right, if I click this and want to use it, then I obviously can edit that text to make it whatever I want, and often change the color and font and size of it to some degree. But there are things that are just like way more obtuse, like this, right? Like, whoa, that's a pretty different feel than the first one. You're gonna have to make a choice here. In the course of a longer film, you're not going to want to use a whole mixture of these because it will be confusing and there'll be no common design, so to speak. So I would opt for something that's simpler rather than more complex. And you can build your own as well. Some of these sample ones are pretty simple, and then you can make some changes with it, I guess. So let's pretend I wanted this really obtuse one. Right? I'm going to drag it down here. I'm going to put up my timeline. I'm going to move these other things over. And so I can have this at the beginning. And then, of course, that's not the title of my film. So you can kind of double click it and get in here and customize the title. You can play around with font to some degree and the size of the font. Really, these moving title screens are pretty well designed, so you can't change it dramatically without things getting cut off. I can click done. Transitions are kind of like, how do you move from one piece of media, visual media, to the next? If I click again, I'll see an example in the right-hand screen. Right, there's a simple fade from one image to the next image. Right, there's going to be a blur. Right, kind of makes me dizzy looking at it. And again, just like the title screen, some are just like kind of ridiculous, right? Like you could go from one image to the next image with this like big rainbow thing. Again, these big transitions, just like the big titles, are going to be kind of distracting, kind of fun and gimmicky, but not very serious for a film. And if you do decide to use a transition like this, I think, again, simpler the better. And it's probably going to be one choice that you make for your whole film. There's probably very few reasons I can think of to use a whole bunch of different kinds of transitions. Right, so I'm going to pick one. I'm just going to stick with the crossfade, and I'm going to drag it down into my timeline, but I'm going to want it to just kind of go between these two photographs, or the video and the photograph. And I'm going to zoom in so we can see it a little bit more. And this is a transition. If I hover over it, it says transition, crossfade, 1 second. I can double click it and make the duration longer. 1 second's pretty typical. That's why it defaults to that. So I'm going to play this so you can see it's going to be in this video, and then rather than just ending and starting this, it's going to fade. You can see that kind of fade in slow motion here. I'll play it in real time. All right. I kind of like that relaxing music. It's kind of spacey. So those are transitions. Extras, quite honestly, I disregard. They're not going to be super helpful. And backgrounds are used really with kind of specialty reasons. Um, you might, you could have like a blue background to start your video, and then put text on the top of it, and I'll show you what that could look like. And it's a good example of what layering can do. So I have pretty simple text here, but I chose to put it on top of a blue screen. So that's just showing you how to use those backgrounds a little bit. And it's good to note, it's, you really view the film top to bottom. So something on video 2 tracked is going to be seen before something underneath. I'll show you this. So if I had my text underneath this large blue rectangle, I don't see the text anymore because the large blue rectangle is covering up everything underneath it. So I don't see this title. I don't see this title. They really have to be ordered correctly for you to kind of see things like that. If you like something, and you want to, if you're working in a project and you like something, you want to use it, you can right click the thing. So here's a video of a bear. If I like this and I want to make it part of my project, I can kind of right click and then hit share to project. All that means is that thing, whether it's a piece of sound or video or a photo, goes into what's called the project bin, which is also going to include anything you've put into your video so far. And that's important for everybody who has access to your project to see these things, so they can see the same media. So if you upload a piece of media, it's going to be important that once you upload it, that you also share it with the people in your group. And so let me see if I can. So here's a short piece of B-roll a student shared with me. I'm going to select that. It's processing. It shouldn't take too long, but it's being moved from Google Drive over to WeVideo. Once it gets to WeVideo, it's kind of processing the file so it can use it more efficiently. And there it goes. The thumbnail kind of appears here. Now, it doesn't go into the project bin. So if somebody else in my team logged in, they couldn't see it. But if I right click and say share to project, here it is. It's now going to be in my project bin, and people in the project can see it. So we've kind of gone through this list on the left, project bin down to background. Up here, it says main menu. WeVideo saves pretty regularly, but if you're really, done working, you want to hit save. You can toggle back and forth with light and dark. And there's some other preferences here I'm not going to get into now. These are your preview screens. If you're down here watching the video, right, that your video is going to be in this preview screen up in the top right. And then you can, use these to, make this space more usable for yourself. Another good one is this edit in full screen. It'll just kind of take over the browser tab and just use all of the screen you have to make this editing interface even bigger. So hopefully that's helpful, quick introduction to the interface in WeVideo, and be in touch with any questions.